Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Incubator. We are at NeoHeart today, and we are recording this introduction with our colleague, Dr. Rune Toms. Rune, welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much, guys. Great to see you in New York.
Yeah, that's right. And we were just talking about our new setup with these little sports anchor microphones and stuff.
This is not the Olympics. This is
That's right. That's right. Maybe we will comment on the Olympics. Why not? But it's funny because we found that these were probably going to be better if we were in a very loud environment, because we used to have microphones on stands and it used to capture a lot of the noise. But NeoHeart was so kind to give us a very quiet room.
And our guests never wanted to be close enough to the mic.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, we have a great setup here, don't we?
Yeah, we do. So for the people listening, if you are at NeoHeart, we are in room 302. So very easily accessible. There's an incubator table. You should be able to see us. And make sure to drop by and share your thoughts on the conference, on what you are listening to, what you are excited to, who you're excited to meet. Yeah, this is going to be a fun couple of days. Rune, what got you excited this year?
Well, that's a difficult one to categorize. There's so many aspects, but I would say main theme of NeoHeart, which is a breaking down the silos between cardiac ICU, pediatric cardiologists, pediatric cardiac surgery, and neonatology.
Yeah,
combining the specialties, allowing the subspecialties to talk and collaborate and optimize the clinical care of very, very complex babies.
Yeah. And we had the pleasure of having Dr. Nim Goldstrom, Dr. Amir Ashrafi, Dr. Adrienne Bischoff on the podcast for the past 2 weeks to have a variety of discussions on neonatal cardiology. I think Adrienne and Nim did a little journal club for us, which was really, really nice. And then Amir and Nim interviewed Gil Vernovsky. And I think that is really the forefront of our specialty right now when it comes to cardiac care is how do we deliver coordinated, multidisciplinary, effective care to these babies? And what's fascinating, Daphna, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that, is how Gil was mentioning this on the podcast this past Sunday of taking into account what we've learned from our years of research in plain old neonatology and applying this to how we view these cardiac babies. I think one of the things he said, which was so interesting, was we want to make sure these babies live to be able to do their laundry by themselves, drive a car, right? Which are things that when we spoke to Annie Janvier and all these other guys,
right,
that's the neurodevelopmental outcome we want to achieve. And so to see this making its way back to neonatal cardiology and saying we should optimize for these outcomes, it's so great because this is truly a way to collaborate.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opening session, right? So congenital heart disease and the developing brain. So I think there's a lot of excitement about that. I think always thinking about what's important to families, in terms of our long-term outcomes. And I think this is a perfect example why the collaboration is so important, right? So meeting the cardiologists, the surgeons, the neos, the general pediatrician, all to be on the same page about what our goals are for patients.
Yeah. And I mean, the concept of neonatology is that we've often taken the extremely low birth weights and we follow them up at 18 months, right? That's kind of our concept in neurodevelopment. In cardiac ICU, imagine all the kind of neuronegative things that you experience, anesthesia, hypoxemia, low blood perfusion, all sorts of things. And in many ways, the brain is this silent one. The cardiovascular system is so boisterous, it'll tell you right away if something's wrong. If your stats go down, your blood pressure goes down. Your kidneys are little whiny organs, right? And they'll tell you why right away.
Sorry to all our nephrologists.
They're showing up on the lab.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, they show up. And the intestines, I mean, they complain all the time. Right? So, but the brain is, in my mind, kind of like a screech owl. You did the softest call, and you don't hear it through the entire CVICU stay. And we don't want to be in a situation where, we have a surprise of poor neurodevelopmental outcome down the road.
Right.
But we want to bring that neurodevelopment and neuroprotection and neuroawareness actually from before the babies with congenital heart disease are born.
Yeah.
Because we see that even prenatally they have changes in the brain and the white matter. So then to track that and be aware of those changes, optimize even the first couple of seconds of life as you go through, and the anesthesia, the sedation, and parental involvement in the unit. So there's so many aspects to this. So this is really just blossoming, which makes
For sure. I think Gil was mentioning that the coolest thing that has happened in his career happened recently, where he said, I was able to co-author a paper with one of my former patients.
That is
I was like,
very special. And I think that speaks to the state of the care in congenital heart disease, right? How much it has changed over the last handful of decades.
Yeah. Tough. This is life goals, huh? Hashtag goalsing.
But it's kind of like almost like, decorating a house, right? You need a table, you need a sofa, right? But when you get to the finally tuning things, right? And that's in the cardiac surgery and pediatric cardiology, the surgery has been worked on for so many years and be optimized. You put the shunt this way, what size shunt, what angle, and, the surgical techniques. And then you've had cardiac interventions, when you stent something, when you plug something, all that stuff. And then now we're in the luxury in many ways. We have all that stuff optimized to some degree. And then now let's look at the outcomes and really focus on the neurodevelopmental aspect. So so that is a main feature of the conference this year.
That's very exciting. All right.
No, I was going to say there's some other really interesting sessions coming up. The first one today, heart and brain, when the right ventricle goes wrong. That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, once you start diving into the morphology between the left and the right ventricle is intriguing, is very complex, is tripartite. It's almost on top of the left ventricle, kind of wraps around it. And we know it's hooked up downstream to the lungs, and we know the lungs can cause a lot of trouble for us. So,
I see. You got him excited.
I know.
I look forward to that.
I guess I'm going to learn a lot more about the right ventricle today. That's good. And then we got bronchopulmonary dysplasia and pulmonary hypertension, state of the art. I think that's going to be a great discussion with really good speakers there. And then later in the afternoon, the year in review talks.
Oh, that's Phil, right?
There's a whole bunch of them. Year in review, the pediatric neonatal cardiac critical care with Dr. Costello. Year in review, pulmonary hypertension, Dr. Rosenzweig. Is that it right?
Rosenzweig.
Then neonatal hemodynamics, that's what Dr. Levy was presenting today. And then closing, year in review, neonatology, Dr. Poland.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. And then they have these cool breakout sessions late in the afternoon, which I think are really exciting. We'll try to pop into some of those, but we're going to have a busy day. And then I think it's going to be really interesting to hear about this pro-con debate, engaging in the great pro-con debates, why every heart center needs neonatology, and then talking about routine neonatal brain MRIs at discharge.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back with more guests and more coverage of NeoHeart. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.